Got to hear, got people in my ear telling me these crazy things that I don't wanna know. I got money in the bank and I really like to bank. All my friends are like to bank, think you really don't. I remember yesterday when I dreamt about them days when I rocked on MTV. You really don't. Damn, it's been a long road and the industry is cold. I'm glad my daddy told me so he let his daughter know. My daddy told me so. He let his
Aha. Peace. What's really good? On this end of the hood, it's Saturday, what really matters day. We still in me month. Self analysis, vacation as a vocation, and everything is going my way. On your end, are we making any progress yet? If not, tune into this post. You're going to get some information that I'm guaranteed that you'll find useful. So, just turned off that song by Fergie, and that's another one of those songs from the beginning periods when I reminisce over you. And that song, I think that's a story that a lot of people actually can share, especially right now. But we're going to need to do some works on the end results, which is first class, living the fabulous life, and the ups and downs that come along with it. On this end, it's kind of funny how the day started. I actually wound up at Starbucks before I actually started my day through an interesting chain of events. Let's just say that a nice looking, kind of a younger female enticed me in a certain kind of way to come inside of Starbucks because she was standing inside with her friends looking out, and I decided to go ahead and step on in and introduce myself. And if it comes to making progress, this week has definitely shown something, which is, I guess, the simple basic truth that I need to get out more. But we're going to make it so that getting out and staying online both have positive results, if you can think that high. But definitely, it's been a good and effective week. No Facebook, very little social media, and just on the internet in general. I've been out manifesting what it is for me to manifest just by putting my thoughts out into the atmosphere, shifting my behavior, and getting the results that I seek to get. And we got to make it the same when it's online so that we can have congruency. Can't have a false reality popping off and never get it in real life if you're expecting to be pimp hop approved status. So this particular post for today says she rides first class and I ride coach. Vacation as a vocation, September 7th, 2013. Saturday, what really matters day. And what really matters is the feeling of importance. So let me holler at you about this for one quick second. Over the years, and especially this week, I had to really just narrow down and get to the bottom of the whole equation. And it really does boil down to people and the need to feel important. So there's been a whole debate for years and years in regards to social media in the form of Twitter and followers and following. I mean, how many people does one follow and how many people does one followed by? And that kind of, I guess, in an abstract way on the internet, kind of determines a person's level of self worth, how many followers they have, and who they're being followed by. And over the years, of course, because I signed up for Twitter actually back in the beginning, 2008, the first thing I said is if you got more followers, then you're a cool kid. If you follow more people, then you're a nerd. Because the dude that turned me on to it kind of jibbed me into it in that way, but I kind of was able to put it together. That was what was going on. You want to have more followers than people you follow. But even though ever since 2008, the account for Pimp Hop has been up for Twitter, I've never, ever, ever, ever really put too much emphasis into building a follower base. And then I know there's companies out that actually sell Twitter followers. So some people, if they're not quote unquote verified accounts, they do have quite a few followers more than the normal or average because they paid for them. You get what you pay for. And then there's some people that have a high significant amount of numbers because I guess in the very beginning of Twitter, the goal, just like anything else, was to come up. So you have a lot of people that I guess was doing the follow you, I follow me back, or follow Fridays, or different trends that come and go, all in the name of people's need to feel important. But even in that year, actually it was in 2009, I noticed an interesting scenario that put it all together and said, well, this is somebody that thinks like I think. And it was in the form of the President of the United States, Barack Obama, because he would actually go, I don't know if it's him personally, but I know his thought process would actually follow people on Twitter, and people would kind of find that amazing or fascinating that the president was probably the most first class, living first class citizen of America, first family, would actually come and follow people on Twitter. But still, the same thing applies. I was able to put something together, and I've been waiting for the time to really introduce this concept. And today, on the 7th of September, September 7th, 2013, at 12:44 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm going to go ahead and introduce this concept and just let you try it on for size to see if you like it. I think the first person I actually mentioned this to was Rihanna on Twitter. She's got a pretty substantial amount of followers on Twitter and Facebook and whatever else there is available, Tumblr, Instagram, the list goes on and on. I think there's a Pinterest and some new ones coming out, Snapchat, blah, blah, blah. But I actually told her that we should make an agreement. She ride first class and I ride coach. And that's just the game from a different approach. And I'm going to go ahead and fully implement that for those who are interested for the following reason. I myself don't really have a need for somebody to follow me or like me or heart me in order for me to feel important. I guess it's a state of self realization and self actualization. I know myself, I know what I'm able to do, I know my importance. But dealing in the world with people who are another kind of way, I really have to narrow down the scope and figure out how we can make this work for the good of all of us because there's definitely some misalignments taking place. But God gave me a brain, so I just use it to put together stuff in the right order. It has to do with the science of motion. And if you pay close attention, a coach actually leads from behind. A coach leads from behind or on the side. You take Phil Jackson as a perfect example. But any coach, you'll see they lead from behind or they lead from the side. But the goal of a coach, including me myself, is to get behind and help to propel forward. It has to do with the science of motion. So that's what I decided to do, and I'm going to go ahead and implement what I talked about in the last post. If you did take some time out to read it, and really work towards moving the game forward by acting as a coach and pushing from behind. So it's just the science of motion, and for whatever reason, I guess I'm old school. I don't really feel myself in a position to get behind other dudes, but I will get behind a female if she is the right one. That's a comfortable position for me. That's one that I'm used to. And as funny as it might sound, I just think it's a natural occurring thing and it works in order. So for the young ladies out there that are actually comfortable with that, you prefer to sit up front in first class and have me as a coach behind you and help to push you forward. Well, that's how we're going to keep it, but the agreement is on you. So I put the seating because that's where you actually see that in the airplane. First class is up front, coach is in the back, and coach rides from behind. So that's what I'm offering, and that's what I'm actually kicking into existence and putting out into the atmosphere as far as my stance in life. I'm going to get behind the worthy women who feel it comfortable and right to have a man behind them to help propel them forward from behind or maybe even from the side. First class is also known as, coach class is also known as economy class, and that's another thing that we're dealing with. The economy has to do with value and worth. It's more economically feasible for me to not be dependent on people for my own importance, but being in a position to help other people to feel important. So we can call it the economy class as well. And this is one of those rare cases, but actually very special cases, where I feel glad that I never lost touch with my roots and didn't fall victim to becoming bougie. I'm not bougie, and I feel absolutely comfortable with riding economic coach class. Have no problem sitting in coach. And I can come up to first class if I do see fit. But my actual position as a coach in this actual game is to lead from behind or from the side. Those are the preferred positions that I'm going to take. So if you as a young lady, once again, I'm old school, I don't get behind dudes. If there are some dudes on Twitter, males that I follow, it's generally because I'm interested in what the person is saying more so than who the person is. I'm able to distinguish between what is important and what's not important in regards to what a person is saying and not get caught up in the person's personality. I guess it's like God. I'm not really a respecter of persons, but I am a respecter of game. And if a person is talking about something that makes sense to me and I agree with, regardless of their particular status, verified or non-verified account, I'll go ahead and follow that person because seems like in our actuality, especially in technology, tech business, the most important stuff that's being said is by people that you really don't know about or are important. People who work at Twitter, you might not necessarily have heard of them or follow them. People that work at Instagram or create an Instagram, you might not know who they are or follow them. But the information that they put on the sites given to anybody that allows a person to use it must come from them. So that's some important information, and that automatically by default makes them important people. So for me, it's more about the importance of what you're saying. And there once was a time where saying important stuff actually made you important. People or an important person talks about important stuff, but things have changed on this side. Remember they used to dump, but now they blast, right? Yeah, it's a blast. Blasting tweets, blasting Instagram pictures, and I read an interesting article day before yesterday, which pretty much explains it, and I'm going to open up a post on that as well. And it has to do with the effects that come with majoring in minor things. That's a major problem in society. But I'm going to go ahead and look in advance and say that this particular cause and subsequent effect of pimpop.com in regards to helping the working girls of the world achieve their goals, that's actually the most important thing, according to Warren Buffett even, because his Twitter account actually says that particular thing and that only. Actually, it's a combination of small things that lead to a culmination of a big thing. It's the combination of small pictures which lead to the actual big picture. And the big picture is that young women and men in the world, they just want to be, you just want to be better, bigger. And the philosophy here, religion of Rylanism, says that if you're bettering yourself, you're actually bettering the society that you live in and the world that you're a part of by default. If you are a member of society, society is comprised of its members, and the better the members are, the better society is. But we all have to work on ourselves and not be dependent on other people in order for that to happen. So if that's your core instinct, because we're talking authentic conversation here, that's what it's going to take, grassroots, hands-on approach, then I want to holler at you and let you know that that's the initial goal here. And if you're comfortable with it, then I'll just maintain this position here, which is to get behind you or on the side of you and help to push you forward if that's the position that you prefer to be in, which is first class. What I'm going to also need to work out and close in at a little bit of a later date, but just to add this in to make sure we're getting some authentic conversation going. One thing that really needs to be worked out, maybe just for me at least, this is the month of workout, me month, self-analysis, is people's inability to think outside the box. There once was a time where the goal was to be unique and set apart. That's what you call outstanding. An outstanding person stands out, and that's what's given value. But over time, the goal more or less now looks to be to fit in. How can a person best fit in with the group? So whenever I introduce something new to the game, or anybody introduces something new to the game, it's kind of neutralized in regards to its growth, because people are often shown needing to see the masses do something before they do it. It's the masses leading the individual. As an illustration, one thing that really showed it was that thing, yeah, it's been a year now, in 2012 with the Joseph Kony Invisible Children thing. They said if X amount of people have watched this video and gone viral, well, it went from 50 million people to 150 million people in about a day. But we have to be honest and say that a majority of the people that followed that because that's where the crowd was going. The crowd goes here, then you go here. But the dangers can show up in looking at where that wound up. So I just want to offer that to you as a person, because the people that come to pimpop.com keep a little eye on something different, are not afraid of what's different. Keep an eye out for that. That's the matrix thinking, where you really stay in the box because of fear of the unknown, and you get repetitive and doing the same thing over and over again, and you actually get comfortable with it, but at the end of a certain amount of time you'll notice that there's no real progress made in your life because you're following the crowd that's going nowhere. But since this is pimpop.com and I'm Ryland Branch and take matters into my own hands, I'm going to take it upon myself to move myself forward. That's already a given fact, but anybody who is actually interested in that same principle, well, I'll go ahead and work with you and help you in that regards. So other than that, things are moving forward. It's like I already ended my day at the very beginning because of what happened in this morning, but things are starting to look up. Gonna go outside and get into it, make sure that the online and the offline is congruent. But other than that, keep the conversation authentic and grassroots. Holla at y'all. Let's keep making this progress. Let's keep the respect level high. And it ain't nothing to it but to do it. If you can see it, you can be it. And let's continue on with the victory. And that'll definitely lead you to a state of you know what. It's two fingers. Peace.